Yeah, I mean, leave the blinds open, I guess. It's like natural lighting. Ah! Hi, Nathan.
Hi, Chris.
So this episode of Chris Convinces Nathan, as I kind of said last time, if you want to go listen to the audio show, you can get a little bit more, what's the word, perspective on this discussion. But the basic of this all is that
Look, it's Gauntlet.
Valkyrie.
Green Elf is dying. I'm sorry, I guess.
So we were discussing the possibility of opening a shop, but then various things
Came to light.
Yeah, it may still be something for the future, but for right now. So one of the things that kind of came up in our discussion on Yahoo, and this is the thing I'm going to kind of try to convince Nathan of, because he wanted to do sort of these flash sale kind of things, and he was just in the audio show talking about maybe doing a Facebook Live sale. That might be interesting. Might have to try that, because that falls under the thing of learning about everything.
But so here's the thing. So the flash sales, the pop-up stores, what I call them.
Mm-hmm.
The pop-up stores and even the Facebook Live would heavily rely on having a following.
Right.
So
which we're going to be doing.
It would have been a business. So we would already had that pool. So those people would be like, hey, this is interesting because there's no store, and then for 1 week, all of a sudden there's a very themed store.
Yeah.
Book theme or model kit theme.
And it's entirely possible to do that.
And then so those people, even though your store is closed and you're out of existence or you're not doing a live sale, you still have people waiting in the wings, waiting to see what's next,
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a little, people are waiting for your posts, like they're waiting for Steve Jackson to post something or whatever, and they're not having to actively go anywhere because they all go to Facebook anyway.
Hey, it's me, Steve Jackson. We put out another broken game that you will like at first, but then hate later.
He just did a Kickstarter of miniature versions of all his popular games. And there's 15 I think there's 30 games.
Every Munchkin game ever.
Well, not quite, but Car Wars and anyway. So, so that's the idea. So yeah, it's to have that base, and we need a plan, to grab people in. We can grab our According to Whim people and say, hey,
You think that they would understand the meaning of that, though?
They hopefully by that point maybe. So anyway,
that's his kid. That wasn't a child in the basement dying or something.
So yes, I think that's the plan. Before we would ever attempt a physical space, we through our eBay and all that jazz, and maybe even in the eBay posts, we say, hey, come and follow us. We do live sales, we do flash sales or whatever. Put it in every single thing. There's some more revenue. There's some more possible people to like us.
But this is Chris Convinces Nathan.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
No, it's there's a lot to do with that. I think the thing I was just going to try to convince you about, and it's just very simple, is you always kind of wanted to do a high tower sort of convention thing, minus the screwing of the vendors.
Right.
You don't want to screw the vendors. But I kind of almost think that maybe that if we don't end up finding a shop space, if we don't end up finding something that just kind of seems perfect, maybe the arcade goes out of business and we can move in right next door to Horror Freak or something. Yeah.
But just imagine the arcade space. We probably could buy that business from that person who was going out of business. Yeah. And just keep it open as a Flynn's.
Yeah. There you go. And Flynn.
I can't do that anymore because Tron's back being popular again. It's not obscure enough.
It was kind of this weird thing that I remember that it was just sort of... It's probably the first piece of trivia about Nathan that I actually knew the correct answer to. It was just something he had offhandedly mentioned, and I remembered it, and then he brought it up later or something you know, not too many people know this, but it's like I've always wanted to open up an arcade, and I was like, Flynn's, how did you know that? Because you said something before. Really?
Really? That's the way I talk.
Yeah. That's
Really?
Exactly. Really? Oh my God. So anyway, it's just, I guess one of what I was going to just try to convince you of is that maybe we should kind of look into seeing if maybe we could do that at some point. I mean,
A convention.
Yeah.
And I still consider that, and I even have material to do that, because my thought. So I'd like to prove it by showing you the emails that are less than 3 months old. But me and Marcus, the guy who did these, he's a character. We were trying to come up. I wanted to create a Facebook page for local Wise sort of genre fans, because we're out here. You just don't know where we're at. There's no gathering place. Start there, and then basically segue into, hey, we're going to do a weekend show where we all get together and bring your stuff to trade or sell or buy. Not necessarily like a public show. I mean, it would be public, but it would be geared more towards that crowd. And one day I came up with a great acronym. I came up with the acronym of WISE Nerds, NERDS, and I had something for the nerds, and I totally lost it that day. I was just like, I mean, it actually worked out pretty well. It was something to do with dragons and space. Like, it encapsulated everything that the genre fan might like, without saying Star Wars, space and dragons, which would mean fantasy and et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, so yeah, that's still somewhere on the back burner. Yeah, the Hightower thing, I wouldn't go that big.
It was technology, entertainment, art, and design.
Okay.
Nerd. Necology. Yeah. Technology.
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 So anyway,
it's Ned. We just change it to Ned.
Okay.
Technology, entertainment, design.
Okay. So
welcome to our Ned Talk. So that's really the extent of this.
You should have known I was going to go for that. Just convinced.
I think the reason is because it's like I guess the we kind of already kind of went through all the issues with the potential shop and everything, and how we're kind of putting that off until maybe a different time. So we kind of already went through all of that, so it wasn't like I had to kind of talk about that and then convince you of going this different direction. But it is something you always wanted to do it before. We're not competing against Hightower anymore.
God, what a guy. What a guy.
Makes you cry. And
Work Chris just sent me a text. Certainly that won't show up on the video. So anyway, so yeah, that's still up there. So everything seems to be leading back. The success of everything we've talked about seems to keep leading back to social media of some sort. Well, and I hate to say that we need to turn into PR Danny's, but it sounds like we need to turn into PR
That's what we were talking about earlier. That's why I was bringing up how just kind of, unfortunately, social media has become